Chickenhare and the Hamster of Darkness, which in North America was a popular 2022 Netflix release. It was actually produced by N-Wave, and N-Wave are probably the best 3D cartoon makers out there. And I was happy to discover that not only did a 3D version exist, but it was region-free and readily available from Amazon France. Now, copies seem to sell out from time to time, but it's not out of print, so if you keep checking the listing, the inventory refreshes every couple of months. At least that's been my observation as I record this in early 2023. Although the disc is region-free, the menu is not in English, and it didn't seem to offer the English soundtrack as a selectable option. However, the English soundtrack is present on the disc, and I was able to switch to it using my own player's audio select button. Technical details aside, it is a lovely 3D movie. More subdued in the stereo than other N-Wave titles. Had I not seen their logo on this, I would not have guessed it was from their company. It did not feel like it was staged for the purpose of showcasing 3D stereo. It is still far richer than what you'll find from most other cartoons. It goes into the screen mostly, with incidental pop-outs that don't draw any attention to themselves. I suppose you can't really criticize the director for putting the story first. Anyone who believes the likes of A Turtle's Tale takes the stereo too far will likely find this far easier on the eyes. This was based on a series of comics that came out about 15 years ago, and apparently this adaptation has been in development for almost as long. What we end up with is an adventure story with several nods to Indiana Jones, and unlike so many cartoons geared toward kids, it doesn't feel cheap or that it was looking for ways to cut corners. Indeed, there's moments such as a fantastic realistic rendering of a river that are only seen for a few seconds. We visit many fun locations that often have many moving parts and small details. Now, in 3D, it's one thing to have a good amount of depth, but that can feel wasted if there's nothing to actually see back there. And here, there are many scenes that really have to be seen twice to appreciate all the moving parts. For example, there's a strange tribe of what I might call Minecraft pigs that work together in a fantastic mechanical way. Their square formations absolutely love being in stereo, and in many scenes we see them in the background chasing and antagonizing our heroes. Although they don't quite have the personality of the pigs I met in the Angry Birds movie, they were still quite charming and were probably my favorite part of the movie. Maybe charming's the wrong word, perhaps just amusing. We also get a horde of ghost hamsters. Yes, ghost hamsters, kind of like the green ghosts from the old Lord of the Rings movie, that can also assemble into objects in a more gloopy fashion. This was somewhat reminiscent of the end of Ralph Breaks the Internet, and is a great moment and another example of having lots of little details in the background to look for. Now, on first watch, I felt the story was a bit clunky, and I think that was because this world, this society, and the peculiars of Chickenhare were all very weird, and I was slow to absorb it all and figure it all out, which left me feeling that it wasn't cohesive. On a second watch, that feeling disappeared, so I think I just needed a chance to let it all sink in and just get it. If they make a sequel, likely, I imagine I would be better prepared. Though the story itself isn't complicated at all, no point getting into it. That's what watching the movie is for. But behind the story, though, is a neat little, shall we say, motif about identity. And we see this Chickenhare dissatisfied with what he was born with and tries to modify his body, even though it brings destruction to himself. And there's a great little father and son moment when the elder sees what his son is up to, but realizes it's something the little hare's just going to have to work out on his own, painful as it is to watch. Now, has Chickenhare been born with limitations, or has he just imagined them along the way?